All right. First card that we got here is the Alkanai Death Speaker, a 1-mana 1/3 Draenei, single unholy rune. After another friendly minion is reborn, summon a copy of it.
No, 1 star.
Yeah. I think it's real hard to have stuff ready to be reborn when you play this.
I mean, they have cards like this before with Death Rattle. They're always incredibly difficult to actually get value out of. Like, you have these cards that if you just stick for 1 turn, you can play something else. And if someone knows you're running, and then the big payoff is you get another 1 health minion, you know? Like, so the payoff is incredibly small. The one thing is like, okay, it's a 1-mana 1/3, but still just like not gonna be easy to get value out of. You'd rather have like a better 1-mana 1/3 that has a real upside. So yeah, I think it's terrible. You know, if it was like after a friendly minion with Reborn is played, summon a copy of it. You know, like you could just copy Reborn minions. That'd be nice, but that's, you know.
Yeah, that'd be way better. That's
Yeah.
kind of actually exactly how the 2-mana version works, where you summon a Death Rattle minion and give it reborn. And that card is okay. It's a pirate. That card's good. This card just isn't.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Orbital Moon, 1-mana spell, double blood runes. Give a minion taunt and lifesteal. If you've played an adjacent card this turn, also give it reborn. And adjacent just means a card in the hand that has been next to Orbital Moon.
This one is like part of me is like, I remember how good Apotheosis was, but it's like in practice, one, there's more lifesteal than there was in the past, just naturally with things like Zilliax. And it's hard to pull. Like I tried to put this in some like decks, like blood, because you know you can't even put it in like a rainbow deck, so you know you can't put it in with like a Reska, you know, because this would be good with Reska, right?
Yep.
But I don't know. I feel in practice it's just really difficult to pull off this card. So I couldn't figure out a single situ. Like I was running 2 of it in like the Theory Craft, and then 1. It just never felt like it actually can get pulled off. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, Blood doesn't really specialize in having a lot of minions in play that are going to be particularly impactful.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't. You need a minion kind of with Rush or Charge or something to make this really work.
Yeah. I mean,
it's line sticking.
The way that this could be the best is like if you could get like with Reborn on the Starship, right? But then you have to play the 5 mana for the Starship, and you have to play a card adjacent. So it's just like, it's one of those like cards that, like, in theory the effect is powerful, but in practice it just feels like just too hard to actually get value out of it. So
yeah, even if you're doing Starship stuff with this, I don't know what turn it is that you're having a big Starship that you have woken up and you're doing this on it, but it feels like a million.
Yeah, I agree. So I think I wanted to think this was good, and I still, but like I think it's just 1 star. So
yep, I'm right there with you. By the way, are you keeping track of the cards? Because I don't know how to work this site.
Oh, if you could log in with your Twitch, and then I'm clicking on it, and then everyone can see your this. So like a bunch of, you know, Pheno, Banter, they have it, and then they can compare like, oh, what did Jay Alexander say? What did Pheno say? What did Nohan say? So it's pretty cool. So
I'll just open that over here. That's way better.
Yeah.
All right, great. In that case, moving on to Guiding Figure. Got ourselves a 2-mana 3/2 with Spellburst, trigger a random friendly minion's death rattle, and it is a Starship piece.
Yeah, this card, I didn't even realize it was a card. And when I randomly got it for my Starships, it was insane. The hard part about Starships in Death Knight is like, I wasn't running Primus, I wasn't running Mining Casualties, so it just takes a lot of slots. So like you can do this with like the Soulspawn Spirit and immediately trigger and get 2 10-drops, which you can get high roll, get Wakener of Souls. There's some insane high rolls that you can easily get with this, and but it's like, how much is the payoff? I'm really not sure. I could see this being like 3 stars and being really, really good, and I could see it not seeing any play. I'm really not sure, but it felt really good when I RNG'd in it from my I discovered it from my my 1-drop. That the 1-drop that generates a 2-drop. So
yeah, I'm not a huge believer of the Starships, at least as far as Death Knight is concerned. You really got to go late to make this thing work. And the guiding figure, yeah, you have some other applications for it, but again, it's one of those, you kind of already want a minion in play, or you have to rely on the thing having stuck, and that's just slowing the whole process down.
It's weird with the starships where in the Tavern Brawl there's no Reno and there's no Yogg, so they feel a lot stronger. But I know, if the game is going like late, you're in a competitive meta, Reno and Yogg can, if you're going for the greedy starship, can really punish it. So it's hard to know if these greedy starships might be just kind of bad, and then I bet some like maybe less greedy aggressive starships are good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still gonna just give it 2 stars. I think that's the boring safe pick, because it felt really strong every time I RNG'd into it, So I still think it's a good card in the right context. So
you can use it, I suppose, with Reska as well, but then you got to be, again, just playing Reska, and that's already usually good.
Well, it's you spend the 5 mana on the full starship. And then this is in the piece, and you have all your death rattles, and you just cast 1 more spell, and it's really easy to trigger. So it's just really, really good for if your starship is your main win condition. So,
right. Possibly. I'm still going 1 on this, just because I don't like the starships, at least as far as Death Knight's concerned. Moving on, we got ourselves Assimilating Blight. 3 mana, 1 blood, 2 unholy rune spell.
One second. I have your voice too loud relative to my voice, so let me just and I think it's my OBS. Chat, what does it sound like now? Jay say something.
Yeah, apparently it's the opposite on my stream. I don't know what's happened.
How does it sound now? Good? It's my OBS settings, it's not my Discord settings. Okay. All right. Say I just.
Right, so Assimilating Blight.
Okay.
Discover a 3-cost Death Rattle minion. Summon it with Reborn.
So, I mean, this card, I just think double green red is garbage. Because this card is like very strong tempo, but it's like hard for me to buy these rune colors. So that's kind of like, I think it's a 1 just because of rune colors. But if this were just like a neutral card with no rune colors, I would probably give it 4. So that's kind of why I'm conflicted. So.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of where I'm at too. They're trying to make a very powerful 3-rune payoff for a 3-rune deck, which is just not viable in any capacity that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with double Unholy Blood.
Yeah. I guess I'll give it 2 because, they give enough synergy of these colors, then all of a sudden it's like you just slot in as a good tempo play. But until they do that, like it's just not going to be good. So it's, it's
better in a couple of weeks. They knock an Unholy Rune off.
Yeah, so I can see that. So, it's the conditions are heavy, but when the conditions are met, it's good. So it's just like the conditions are too much. So,
right. All right. Well, next up then we got Soulbound Spire, 3 mana, 2/2. Death Rattle. Summon a minion with cost equal to this minion's attack up to 10. Starship piece.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool starship piece. It's powerful. It's slow tempo, but you get 2 corpses for it. I think it felt like good enough. It just more like when you get the full, 4 set, like 6 set meta. Does this make the cut, or does it make it the cut like the next meta? Is it a suboptimal version of the deck? I think I'm gonna give it 2. Like it's decent, but like it's not amazing. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the 1 as well. I think the starship pieces are all gonna hang around with the same general ratings with each other in classes. Because like you're not gonna play Guiding Figure without Spire, and you're probably not gonna play Spire without Guiding Figure.
I don't know, yeah, but I like the I like that. I felt starships felt good to me, but there wasn't enough like I said, the Renos, the Yoggs. So I felt all the starships felt strong in the meta, like metas I've played, which are not real metas, right? So but they don't feel like garbage cards basically to me. So I don't want to give them a 1 star. So
yeah. One thing I'm also anticipating as a general overarching idea is that there's probably going to be a lot of ways of killing people if you let the game go long.
Yeah.
And starships, they might stumble there.
You got that armor starship, which is a way to get, make it harder for things to kill you. So getting like neutral life gain is huge. So I think anyways, yeah.
All right, moving on, we got Suffocate. 4 mana, Shadow Spell, destroy a minion. If you're building a starship, also destroy a random neighboring minion.
Maybe one. I don't think I run this in any deck, so.
Okay, so if you're building a starship, do you play this 4 mana to kill 2 things?
Yeah, well, you know, one, if this becomes common, people just play around it. Two, you know, you have things like the 1 mana, like a Shield Slam, the Corpse Slam or whatever, which just seems way better, you know, like for single target. So it just seems, and like often, you know, you have games where you don't get your starship till turn 7, and then all of a sudden it's turn 6, and you don't even get the value of the double kill. You know, that does happen. So, and it's another card that, you know, you're not running something else to run starship synergy. So it's just too many things. I think it's real bad. So
yeah, I would say you've talked me into a 1.
Yeah.
I was a little bit keener on this card, and now I'm not.
Okay.
All right, moving down, we got Airlock Breach, 6 mana, 1 blood, 1 unholy rune. Summon a 5/5 undead with taunt and give your hero +5 health. Spend 5 corpses to do it again.
Yeah, this might be the best class card of the expansion. You know, 4 stars, easy.
Yeah,
So
does seem like a 4-star.
Yeah.
Not much more to say. It goes in rainbow. There you go.
It's every single Death Knight deck will run this card for the next year and a half until it rotates. Like that's or, you know, it's gonna be, that isn't like, you know, triple unholy or something stupid. So yeah, it's an insane card.
I'm liking it too. Also 4 from me. Next up, we got Exarch Maladar, 6 mana legendary 5/5 Draenei. Battlecry, the next card you play this turn, cost corpses instead of mana.
I don't know. Like you know, if you have lots of corpses, it can be a good way to use corpses. You could use it with C&E, right? Which is insane, right? So you can use it to play. Oh, you could use it to play if you had 10 corpses, you know, to play a fast C&E. I don't know if it gets the buff immediately though. That's kind of interesting.
It probably does.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you can play Reno with it. You can play Ziliax with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So you have to have like a lot of corpses, but I mean, it's so the corpses are getting more valuable, like they're figuring out better ways to use them, but yeah, it's definitely decent. I don't know if it's like 2, 3, or 4. I could see either, you know. I don't know. I feel like this isn't like the auto broken card. I'm gonna give it 3. So I don't think it's an auto include. I think not every list will run it. So yeah.
Right. I'm gonna say it's a 4. I think that is just, you can get something big and scary out way too fast, and you get a 5/5 with it. So that's also
true.
good.
So yeah.
All right. Next up, we got the 8 Hands from Beyond. A good counter to you. 8 mana, 8/8 legendary beast with double blood runes.
Yeah.
Battlecry, destroy both players' decks except the 8 highest cost cards in each.
Like, I love this card and I want to give it 4 stars, but I'm not. I think people think this card isn't that good, but I think this card is great. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It's like it makes it much easier to play a control game because you have less time, you have less cards. You know, you don't have to wait. You don't get in a situation, you know, you're up against somebody where you have to wait, you know, win over 15 turns, you know, in a late game scenario. It also tutors you to your powerful cards. So, and you know, it makes your Ceaseless Expanse massively discounted. So sometimes you can play this and then play the Ceaseless Expanse. So I think it's good. And you know, I think I definitely want to run it in the double blood green. You know, the question is like, will this card be good enough to not run Reska, basically? And probably not. But I still think like this is another. This deck will allow you stylistically card to go play double blood green if you just like that style. So I think it's still a very strong card, even if it's not like the most optimized compared to other cards. So
I would say it's still a 1, but it's also a Ticketus, and people enjoyed playing Ticketus. So they're going to play this card even if it's not that good.
Yeah, so I would have played this card. This will be fun when it's like the most called for nerf card.
Oh yeah, people are going to hate playing
and
against.
It's got like the lowest drawn win rate in the deck, and like BS says you should cut 8 heads from below, and then everyone's saying it's broken. That'll be fun if that happens. Yeah, so Yeah.
That's the one. And on top of it, it's actually kind of funny. People have been playing this to counter me, or not counter me. They were playing it as if it were a counter to me in the brawl recently, because I was playing a bit of Asteroid Shaman, and they would play the 8 hands and delete like 17 asteroids, and then they would just draw me into my Shutter Block and my Incendius, and
Yeah. If you know how to play around it, but it's still like another thing. So I mean, I think it does something legitimate. It's like the big question is like, do you have the tempo for it? And like, are you better off just like running other, win conditions and stuff? So, but I still think it's like, if I'm playing like a Highlander double blood dead, like I'm like absolutely running this card. So I think I do think this deck card will be for sure optimal in some lists, so I don't think I still think it's good. Just will it be, the most competitive? That's the way I look at it. So
who isn't playing Highlander Double Blood?
yeah, so
Next up, we got last card for Death Knight, Wakener of Souls, 10 mana, single unholy 8/7, with Taunt, Reborn, and Death Rattle, resurrect a different friendly Death Rattle minion.
so this card's like, I got it off you get it off the really this card's like a huge buff to your starship, because when you do get the death rattles, sometimes this will get pulled out, and then sometimes we'll pull out the starship again. So it's almost like a card that isn't really like, having it in the Death Knight set makes Death Knight way stronger, but it's not a card you actually include. So it's kind of a weird one. Like the fact that they printed this card is a buff to Death Knight, but you'll never run it, So does that mean it's good technically? Because it's like a card you like. You just, and you're probably not running a deck that like cheats this out. So in a way it's good, but it's also like you'll never just play it for 10 mana, right? So yeah,
it's an interesting perspective, making a card that's there to be generated but not played.
Yeah. So
yeah, it seems like a one to me, but
it's probably, if you take the perspective of like, what is this? I'll give it a 2 just for like the thing I said before, even though it's like kind of a 1, because probably no list will ever seriously run it. So, but
it is a lot of stuff if you do.
So,
all right, moving on to Demon Hunter. Starting off with Eldritch Being, a 1 mana 1/3 with Outcast and Spellburst. Shuffle your hand. That is, move the cards in your hand to different positions at random in your hand.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I was like, yeah, that's weird. I feel like it's terrible, but like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
It's 1 mana 1/3 with basically no text on it.
I mean, you got to have some really big payoffs for shuffling your hand. I don't know, to Outcast. I just think, I'm gonna give it 1, but it's kind of cool new idea. I hope it's not 1. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's trying to make Outcast's cards a little better because you can move them to Outcast position, maybe, or move the crewmates around, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
It looks pretty bad. Speaking of crewmates, though, next up we got Headhunt, a 1 mana spell that deals 2 damage and gets you a 4/4 crewmate with a random bonus effect. So the way the crewmates work, these are 4 mana 4/4 minions with a random bit of text like Shroud, or not Shroud, Elusive, or Taunt, or Reborn, or one of those keywords. And when you play one of them, any crewmates in your hand that are touching go into play. So if you have this next to one, both go into play. If you play one on the left and then you have one on the right and another one on the right, all 3 go into play.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of think crewmates are garbage. But like, I feel like this card is decent because it's just like deal 2 to like get some value, which is like good enough sometimes. So I don't know.
It's definitely an improved arcane shot.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give this card a 2, even though I probably just think crewmates are in general garbage. So
yeah, I could give it a 2. There is some chance you play it even if you don't necessarily go for the full crewmate package.
Yeah.
It's 1 mana deal 2, get stuff, that's fine.
Yeah. Those the power level sees play, so
yeah. Next up, we got Emergency Meeting, 2 mana spell, get 2 4/4 crewmates Put a random demon that costs 3 or less between them.
Yeah, this is like, it sucks extra much because demons are just terrible. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it 1. I just think these are bad.
I'll give it a 1 as well. It's basically saying you float your turn 2. On turn 3, you play some random garbage demon so that on turn 4, you can play 2, but probably not more, or 4s. That's not great.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a 1 for me on the meeting. Don't love it. Next up, we got a Fell-Fused Battery, a 2-mana 2/3 starship piece that, after it attacks, gives your other minions +1 attack.
Yeah, I think like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the starship. Like, it's just not. It's also like this concept of like, this is like good in a token deck, but I feel like a token deck doesn't want to run starship pieces. And like, you also have to run the 0 mana card to get the rush, which is like awkward to do. It's just like all this sort of like anti synergy with itself. Like, it just doesn't. It's not good in the situations that it needs to be good. Like for the deck that runs it, for the meta, it's like, so in theory the effect is okay, but I think in practice it's bad. So I'm gonna give it a 1. So.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you on the Demon Hunter Starship stuff as well. Because if you're running a very, very fast deck, it's okay to play this card as a 2-mana 2/3. It does have to die. If it doesn't die, it does threaten a lot of damage. And if it does die, you can always maybe resummon it later.
Yeah.
Then I don't know, well, maybe I'll move it up to a 2. It does ask that you play a bunch of Starship pieces and cards in the same deck.
I mean,
Maybe
I'd rather
payoff
like
more.
think about that compared to like Hoser that buffs all your pirates by +1/+1. You
Yes.
know, and it doesn't have to attack, so you can play it on the same turn. Where I can't play this, and then like this doesn't have rush. Like, that's why I kind of think it's garbage. You know, like, you have to give it rush, and that's annoying. And like your opponent's just not going to let this stick. So I just think it's just so terrible independently, and like, is the payoff really that big for the when you do it combined? I don't think so. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't really want to play it in the early game with the rest of the plan that Demon Hunter tends to have. Kind of a curious little card. Although if 2 of them do die and it attacks, it buffs your minions by +2, so there's that.
Yeah, I mean, you have the Death Knight card that just gives your board permanently +1 attack before she doesn't even see play, So, and there's tons of synergy. So it's like, if that card is not good enough, like, yeah, I can't give this not 1 star. So yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Vornai Recruiter, a 2-mana 1/3 Draenei with, at the end of your turn, get a 4/4 crewmate with a random bonus effect.
I feel like they should make this a 1/4. It's just garbage. Like, give me just 1 star. So
yeah, 1 star as well, because the crewmate cards aren't good without the full crewmate package in this case.
So you're going in under mid tempo, and like, like just playing, like, even if you would do 1, 2, 3, and then on turn 4 you play 4/4 for crewmates, like, that's nothing that high really in Hearthstone in 2024. Like, that's not enough to win a game against a good
You can't
deck.
even do it on turn 4, really.
Yeah. So that's even in that scenario, like, that's not good. So when the scenario is not good, like, it's just garbage. So yeah.
Yep. And then when they start pulling all of the crewmates into play at the same time, and they just line themselves up to get AoE removed.
Yeah, Bladestorm, real convenient. They all the same health, so yeah.
Yep. Sad. Next up, we got Infiltrate, a 3-mana spell which chooses a minion and deals 3 damage to all other minions. So you can point this at a friendly thing and have it not take damage.
Yeah. Choose a minion, deal 3 to all other minions. I don't know. So you can protect one of your own minions, so that's good. Maybe this is good. I don't know. What do you think? I have no idea.
It's an okay rate on damage.
Yeah.
The question is, what Demon Hunter deck plays this card?
Yeah.
The Demon Hunter decks are there right now. There's Pirate.
Yeah, I mean, you could just use it to like if someone opponent has a wide board, you put it on their 1/1 and you kill everything else. You know what? I
Sure.
think this is, but it's still, it's not that great. But it's like I'm gonna give it 2. I just don't. I'm not convinced it's like a 3, like where 3 is like every a board clear that every good thing, But it seems decent. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems all right,
Doesn't
but
seem like Threads
I
level, So,
yeah,
but
I don't have a home in mind for this card, so
yeah.
I'm gonna say it doesn't see any play. Next up, we got Shatter Shard Turret. 3 mana 2/4 Rush Wind Fury Starship piece.
I feel I'm not a believer in like the Demon Hunter Starship, but I feel like this card is independently a good Starship. Like I'd like to run this in some other class, So
Sure.
you give your Starship Rush, give it Wind Fury,
Yeah.
It seems good. So yeah,
I'll go 2 on this. I think there's a chance Demon Hunter slots it in.
I'm gonna give it a 3, even though I think the synergy won't be there. I think it's just independently powerful. So it's kind of just because it doesn't see play, I think it's just kind of a good card. So yeah.
Part of the reason I'm a little better about these Starship pieces is because of the next card, which is Warp Drive, which is a 3 mana Fel spell that draws 2 cards, and if you're building a Starship, those cards cost 2 less.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think I don't know. I guess it's a little awkward to get the Starship, but I don't know. It's definitely a 2 plus. So, maybe I should give it a 3. I don't know.
I mean, I'll go 4 on it,
You could go
just
4.
because
Okay.
if you're running a low curve Starship, whatever aggressive Demon Hunter deck that you're running, the 2 cards you draw here are probably going to be free.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it a 3. I'm not quite convinced 4, but I'll give it a 3. So.
Yeah, the big downside is you have to have a Starship piece that has died, which is, its own little challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Deidre, Rebel Captain. 4 mana 5/4 legendary Draenei with Rush. And Battlecry, shuffle all 8 crewmates into your deck with Death Rattle to draw one of them.
I get to shovel 7 terrible cards into my or 8 terrible cards, but the upside is I get to draw 1. Like it should be like draw until your hand is full, or something. Like this is so bad. I don't know. I'm insulted. I personally find these crewmate cards insulting. All right.
The other crewmate cards are bad. This one is an active liability.
Yeah.
You just make your deck worse.
Yeah. I'm giving it 1 star. So.
Yep. Give it a 1 as well. And last, for a Demon Hunter, we got Zortoth, Breaker of Stars, a 6 mana 5/5 legendary demon. With a battle cry, add 2 stars to both sides of your hand, left and right. When they collide, that is when you've played every card between the two, deal 5 damage to all enemies.
Yeah, I just have the time to set up a board clear for 4 turns from now. This is great, and a 6 mana 5/5. It's just like, can they at least give me like a 6 mana 8/8, like with some real tempo? Like, oh my god, this card's,
You're not Paladin.
Yeah,
And on top of it, it's a demon, so even if you want to do something like the Umpire's Grasp to discount this, you're then not guaranteed to draw your Window Shopper, which is probably way better.
Yeah, I know they're probably thinking, oh, I get to play all my crewmates and they all come out and blah, blah, blah. Like this is gonna be awkward. Like board. So this is kind of like the Lightning Storm effect, where a lot of times with these board clears, they need to be reliable, because it's like if you deal 1 damage less, like if you have that variation. So just the variability in it makes it hard for you to like be very good at controlling, because you don't know how many turns. It's just awkward. Like when are you gonna have the tempo to play this? I'm at 1 star. So
I'll go 1 on it as well, which brings us nicely into Druid.
Let me get a soda real quick, and
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Let me know when you're back. Moving into Druid, we got Arcanite Revelation for 1 mana, Arcane Spell, draw a card, and if that card is a spell, it costs 1 less.
I feel like this card, I don't know. I didn't, I was kind of putting it in. I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to see play. It's kind of like, I mean, it's probably some spell druid, so it's probably good enough. I think it's probably 2 stars. I didn't never felt like great, but
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3. I think it just is going to see play in pretty much every Druidish deck.
You might
Almost.
be right. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be mind-blowingly powerful. It's just going to be good. Moving on, we got ourselves Astral Phaser, 2-mana arcane spell that chooses one, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions, or make one of them dormant for 2 turns.
What's up with these terrible cards? 1 star. I don't know.
1 star as well.
Yeah.
It's like Cleave, which is unplayable, or you can choose a worse version of red card.
Yeah.
So
maybe you figure out a way to put this in your deck and then fill up your opponent's hand with this card to win. You know, I don't know. And all they can do is make your minions dormant. I don't know. It doesn't really work.
It's pretty shit.
Yeah, and then all your cards have elusive, so you can't. I guess. All right.
Next up, then we got Shatari Cloakfield, a 2-mana 1/3 elusive minion. And the first spell you play each turn costs 1 less, and this is also a starship piece.
I don't think this even makes the cut in a Druid starship deck, so I'm gonna give it 1 star. So
I think you're right. I think Druid can do better things with starships than this, and it's not terribly important as far as I've seen from the synergies they have on offer. Moving on, we got Starlight Reactor, a 3-mana 3/3 starship piece that says after you cast an arcane spell, recast it with random targets.
I think this is also 1 star. Just you know, it's just like
I think,
awkward. Yeah.
I would give it a 3. I think this might have some choice. So we have Sleep Under the Stars, which is arcane. I don't know to the extent that matters. There's a card kind of below it further down called Cosmic Phenomenon that has some implications with Reactor. And you can also bank the Reactor. So you can play it for 3 whenever it'll die. And then you can have the 5 mana to turn it back on, which can be fairly relevant at some points, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily a great starship piece for a starship-focused deck, but it's kind of maybe just fine, good on its own.
I don't know if Swipe was a nature or as a arcane spell, maybe I'd give this, but just
sure.
Like, you know what? All the good Druid cards are nature, except like Sleep Under the Stars. Sleep Under the Stars is awkward when you duplicate it because I tried this, and because it's like it's too variable, you know. So it's like you get. You over refresh and then you get too much refresh, or you draw and then you overdraw, you know, like, so in practice it just doesn't, I don't know, I think it's bad, so
could be a little awkward. Next up we have a card that looks like it's supposed to go with it, which is Distress Signal, 4-mana arcane spell, summon 2 random 2-cost minions and refresh 2 mana.
I didn't even know this was a card. I just I missed it in the I don't know. I guess that's like pretty decent value, but then you have to do something for 2 mana. Like, you know, I guess you're supposed to do it with the starship, but like, how's that really gonna work? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, if the starship sticks, it's kind of cute, but even then, I don't think 4 2-drops. Not to say that's bad.
Yeah.
But with the starship, it's good. Without the starship, 2 2-drops for 2 mana is really not impressive on turn 4.
Yeah, it's not, you know, unless you're getting all. I'm gonna go with my gut and say 1 star. So
yeah, I'll say 1 on that as well.
Right.
Next up, we got the Exarch Othar, a 4-mana legendary 3/3 Draenei with Battlecry. If you are building a starship, get 3 different arcane spells and reduce their cost by 2.
Yeah, I think, you know, these are, you know, it sounds nice until it's just like awkward. I'm just not a believer in all these arcane spells.
Yeah, these are also random arcane spells. They're not Druid arcane spells. There are quite a lot of those.
I can't imagine this. My emotions just don't imagine a world where I'm happy about, like, I'm, you know, this is reliably good. So I'm just going to give it 1. So.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 1 as well. There's a chance Druid might do starship stuff, but I strangely don't think they care about this payoff for one of the starship pieces. It's odd.
Yeah. If like Maxi makes like a weird arcane deck that only he can get #1 legend with, does that count as good? I don't know.
Probably
So
not. Next up, we got Cosmic Phenomenon, a 5-mana arcane spell that summons 3 2/3 elementals with taunt, and then if your board is full, gives all your minions +1/+1.
Bad. 1 star. That's what I said.
I thought it was bad at first. I've warmed up a bit to it. Mostly because if you play that with Starlight Reactor,
Oh, that's true. I was like literally thinking
that
this
is
would be good
6,
with
3,
Solar
4
Eclipse.
taunts.
Yeah. So that's
That is a
true.
full board of taunts, basically, and a buffed up reactor.
Yeah. What deck really wants to run this? Like, I don't know. It's
You can
just
just kind of
like,
ramp into it.
yeah, I don't
It's like a
know.
weird 2-card version of
I feel like
Scale
I'd
of the
rather
Mix.
just do like Eonar pop-offs, you know? Like, it's just, it's until like
You
I'm
could
just
do this
Mage
on
and
the
I
ENR
tech in
pop-off
Flam
thing.
Strike and then I just clear your board, you know? I don't know. I don't know. It's like I see it, but I don't know why. I'm not a believer of a lot of these Druid cards. I'm giving it 1 star. So
I've Cosmic Phenomenon's grown on me. We'll see about the rest. Next up, we got Ulu the Everdrifter. 5-mana legendary 6/5 beast. Each turn this is in your hand, gain 2 random choose 1 choices. And this is not gain additional choose 1 choices. This is each turn it just has 2 random different choose 1 choices.
I think I got this randomly a few games, and the choose one choices always sucked. Like I
Yeah.
never was like, oh, this is like, Rush Reborn Lifesteal. Like it just was like, oh, like draw. I don't know, like gain taunt, and like I don't know. I'm just giving it 1. I think it's garbage.
Yep.
So,
That's a mega one. It's inconsistent and it's not even above curve or anything. Next up, we got Final Frontier, a 7-mana arcane spell that discovers a 10-cost minion from the past and set its cost to 1.
I'm not sure on this one. People are saying it's decent. Like it's kind of cool. And you can duplicate it with the starship, but I don't know. I don't know if in practice it's actually good.
The reason I could see playing this card is if you want to play a Druid deck with few minions for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, I feel like the cards you can get off this, it's probably not that they're bad, but that they're never going to be particularly well suited for your situation with any consistency. Just 8 mana for stuff.
Realistically, I think I could see this being a 1 or a 3, and I'm just gonna be a coward and give it 2 stars. So,
And a 2 sounds about right for that. It's not crazy.
I know if you get that the Anubis guy that summons a board like a board on a box guy, that could be pretty good. So I don't know, but anyways,
Yeah. Next up, we got Stargrazer. 8-mana 8/8 beast with elusive, taunt, and spellburst. Give your hero +8 attack this turn and gain 8 armor.
I feel this card like kind of looks decent, but I was playing the taunt armor druid, and I kind of was feeling like the deck might even be better without it and just getting armor from starships. It's like really awkward to get down, and you have to have like a 0-mana card, so you have to like use your spells. So it's not even that good off the hydration station because that's like why you run it. So I don't know. But the 8 attack that is nice. So because it can be used to finish your opponent. So maybe it is. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. It did feel awkward. Like it wasn't the card I wanted to draw. So I don't know.
Yeah, in a Dungar Druid or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've cooled off on this card a bit. I thought it was better when I saw it.
I thought so too, and then I played it, and it just always felt bad. So I'm gonna give it 2 stars. It's probably gonna see some play, but I don't know. I'm not. I could see it getting cut from lists it has synergy with. So
A 2 does seem about right. It's never going to be an all-star.
yeah.
You can't even point spells at it to copy it in any capacity. I don't know if you can do something like this and cover artist in any capacity, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Weird. All right, that's Druid. Moves on to Hunter. Starting off with Ragnari's Scout, a 1-mana 1/2 Draenei. After you discover a card, get a copy of it.
I think this card, yeah, it's pretty good. Especially, you can do, with your tracking hero power and your tracking, like you can go this, hit a tracking, then play 2 trackings, and just really multiply your hand really quickly. So it's a really great value hunter card. So I think it's very strong. I'm gonna give it 3. I'm not quite on a 4 because it's not like that game breaking, but it's a nice card. So
I'll go up to a 4. It does seem powerful. It does seem flexible. You don't need a specific deck or combo for this. It'll definitely find a home somewhere. And it's important synergy for other stuff they're giving us, which is kind of nice. Up next, we got ourselves a Biopod, which is a 2-mana 2/2 Death Rattle. Deal damage equal to this minion's attack to a random enemy, and it's also a starship piece.
I think this is pretty good. I mean, it's just a good, like, it gives this whole, like, this card allows the Starship Hunter to exist because it's like now you have a very well defined win condition. So I think it's 3. It's maybe it's like not so broken that it's like just auto wins things, but like I think it's a good card. So I'm gonna give it 3.
Yeah, I'm on a 3 as well. Obviously, what you're supposed to do with this is discover multiple biopods or play multiple ones, so you have 2 or 3 of them that have died. So that when you wake your starship up, you click a yelling yodeler on it, and it deals its attack 3 times, twice to things, and people die from that. It's a good little starship piece. It's not too much of an investment, and it sets up an actual way to win the game. I like it. After that, we got Detailed Notes, which is a 2-mana spell that discovers a beast which costs 5 or more, and then you reduce the cost of that beast by 2.
Yeah, it's I thought this card was pretty bad. It's like you just I can have 2 bad cards that are reduced by 2 with your copy guy. Like makes your hand like clunky with these big clunky beasts that I'm just not really a believer. I think it's 1 star.
Yeah, I'm kind of between a 2 or a 3, leaning a little bit more for 2. Just because you can't necessarily play the thing you discover that early with this. This isn't like a primordial glyph where you can tailor the needs to something in the early or the late game. It's much more of a later game card.
Yeah,
it's okay, but it's not exciting.
I just think eggs are a better way to like get these big beasts that you want to play. So, and you don't have, there's so many just like, if I play this on 2 and I get a Savannah Highmane, that can be pretty decent, but like this still at the end of the day, like decks can deal with a Savannah Highmane in 2024, so on 4. So it's like it's not going to be, and sometimes you're gonna get just 3 bad options, and then you have this crappy card that you want to get rid of out of your hand, so I'm just not, I don't think it's very good. So
there's Plush, there's Sasquatch, there's Mukla, there's definitely some good stuff, but I'm not sure what the pool size is actually like. Hollowhound is there too, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Notes is okay. I'll give it 2. It's not outstanding, but it's fine. Next up, we got Extraterrestrial Egg. 2-mana 0/2 with a Death Rattle to summon a 3/5 beast that attacks the lowest health enemy.
I didn't have the synergy cards for this card when I was playing it, but the Gorm, it's supposedly pretty good with Gorm. So I think with the right synergies, it's decent. So I'm gonna give it a 2. So
I think people might actually build around this. The difference between attacking immediately and not is massive between this and Nerubian Egg. So I'll go for a 3 on it, but I don't know if I would ever want to put Gorm in a deck. That sounds bad news.
It is not very like me to give it egg a 2, Gork. I don't really love eggs. I don't know. Maybe I'm evolving as a person, so.
It's also got the Death Rattle synergy for Yodeler. That's kind of neat as a little backup. Moving on, we got Laser Barrage, which is a 2-mana spell. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If you're building a starship, also hit its neighbors, both of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt this card. This card didn't feel good to me. But I know some lists run it. I don't know. In theory, it's good. It's like just efficient, like especially because like Hunter has bad control tools, so control tools that work with Hunter are decent. So I probably should just give it a 2. You know, maybe it's a 3. I don't know. It's what do you think?
Yeah, I would go for a 3. Compared to the Death Knight card that costs 4 mana and kills 2 things, and the Demon Hunter card that was the 3 damage AoE, I think this clears both by an appreciable margin.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2, but I see what you're saying. I could easily, I don't know, I could easily be wrong. Yeah. So okay. So
Next up, we got Exarch Niall, which is a 3 mana 3/4 legendary Draenei with a battle cry to replace your hero power with tracking, which is 1 mana as well.
easy 4. So no discussion necessary. This card's ridiculous. So
Yeah, that card sounds real nice to me. Looks good too.
completely changes Hunter. Like just that it has this and that it can become a value deck. You know, like
Yeah.
it's got a upgraded like you know it's Warlock's hero power, but 1 mana, so instead of 2, and is discover instead of a random. Like absurd.
Yep.
You know, like
Yep.
and it has synergy with a 1/2. Like absurd card. So yeah.
It don't even lose stats on it.
Yeah.
Just on curve. It's just good.
Yeah, dude. Other like I mean, eventually people will call like I don't know. It's like if Hunter's OP, I wonder if this card like goes or gets like nerfed or something. I don't know, but like I don't know. I don't feel like this card will get nerfed to be honest, because it's just like it's just more an enabler where it's not independently the power spike isn't that hard. So I don't know, but yeah.
But it's definitely cool. I really like it.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Gorm the World Eater, a 3 mana legendary 12/12 beast, which is dormant for 5 turns. And at the end of your turn, destroy the minion to the right of this to awaken 1 turn sooner.
I thought this was like utter garbage, but like if you have eggs, it's good apparently. So it's really like a very much a build around card. Like you use it to destroy your eggs, and apparently like if you eat the card, it ends at the end of your turn. So you get to attack on the next turn. So it's not like awoken and then they always have a turn. So kind of weird like that. So I don't know. I feel like it's these cards usually are very easy to beat. But because it does like it has benefits for the right synergies. Like I think I'll give it a 2. So
This is a mega 1 for me. Okay. I've generated enough Slagmaws to know how slow that is. And even if you're trying to wake this up a little bit slower, if it's dormant for 3 turns, and then it wakes up and it still can't attack on the turn it wakes up.
Yeah.
I mean, that is brutal.
Yeah, I thought it was a 1, but I don't know. I could see like for the like if you're running an egg deck, it might see play. So yeah.
Sure. All right, next up we got Parallax Cannon, a 3 mana 2/2 weapon that has +1/2 attack if you've discovered this turn. And Spellburst, your hero is also immune this turn. 3 mana 2/3 weapon, rather.
Garbage. Utter garbage. So
interesting. I think it's actually quite good.
I don't know. I think weapons need to be really good to be good. Like compare this to Quartz Crusher, obviously 1 mana more. Like it's not even close. Like you can get immune. Quartz Crusher, you can get heal and freeze the card.
Like, I was more thinking it deals 12 damage.
Yeah, but then you have to be discovering, it's like when do you I don't know. Yeah, I see like, if you're but I don't know. I just think it's trash, so you have to have the hero power down. Sometimes you don't have it. Yeah, it's bad on 3. I don't know. I think it's too awkward. Like in practice, like these conditions don't work out as nicely and cleanly as they look, so
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Right.
Just because I look at this and I think it does a lot of damage. Next up, we got Specimen Claw, which is a 3 mana 2/6 starship piece. After your opponent plays a minion, attack it.
Yeah, so it might be run to just get more starship stuff, but I feel like I'm not even convinced Starship Hunter wants to run this card. So I kind of think it's bad. I think I want to give it a 1. I don't think it sees play in Starship Hunter, so
I'll give it a 2. I don't think the card is good, but I think if you are playing the biopods, you just play starship pieces to make biopods better.
And
The
I feel
claw
like I'd
itself
rather
is
just put
kind of garbage.
the 2 mana biopod and the 4 mana the 4 mana neutral. That's kind of what I want to do. So I'm just
Yeah, you for sure will play the neutral.
yeah.
Claw, it's alright. It's not fantastic, but I think it probably just goes in. Next up, we got Alien Encounters, 5 mana spell. Summon 2/2/5 beasts with taunt. Costs 1 less for each card you have discovered this game.
I think we get 4 stars. I think it's really good. So
I'm right there with you. That card's going to go to 0. And 0 mana for 2/2/5 taunts is a very good rate.
yeah, it was great. It felt great when I was playing it. Yeah, it's like this is another one of those cards that like allows Control Hunter to exist because they can be behind and then put a giant board of they can discover 2 of these with the discover guy, and then all of a sudden your opponent has to has to deal with the 4/2/5 20 health, and they're not expecting Hunter to do that. So
For 0 mana, yeah, that's brutal. Card's real good.
All right, so Mage.
Yep. Next up, moving into Mage, starting off with Spontaneous Combustion, a 2 mana fire spell that deals 4 damage to a random enemy. If you've played an elemental last turn, choose the target.
My big payoff is I get to choose where my 2 mana deal 4.
Yeah, it's an eviscerate.
Yeah. Oh my god. Just what a insultingly bad card. I'm personally insulted. 1 star. So
I'll do 2 just because I think the fire elemental deck will be run. I don't think it's gonna get particularly far past, I don't know, Diamond. Oh, there, it can be alright.
I think it's bad, so yeah, anyways.
Yep. Next up, we got Blasteroid, a 3 mana 3/4 elemental that shuffles 5 random fire spells into your deck and makes them cost 2 less.
I don't know. I haven't looked at these elemental cards for fire but I don't know. I'm just gonna be my own. I don't want to think about it too much. I'm just giving it 1. So
yeah, I'll give that one a 1 too. I don't even think the fire elemental deck wants this. You want Blazing Accretion, which is a 3 mana 3/1 elemental. The battle cry to destroy the top 3 cards of your deck. Any fire spells or elementals are drawn instead.
I mean, this is like you have your all elemental deck. This is 3 mana, draw 3. It's probably decent. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It's probably good.
I'll give it a 4. Just it's gonna go in that deck. It'll be a very good card in that deck. And if that deck sucks, then this card's unplayable.
Yeah.
Next up, Pocket Dimension, a 4 mana arcane spell that discovers a spell, and then you repeat discovering until you see one of the options a second time.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. Like, it's I don't know if you can get you can do it with mana discounts. I'm trying to think of how many ways there are to get the mana discounts other than that, like that. But like in theory, this could give you a full new hand, right? Like, so.
I look at this card and I compare it to Volume Up. And Volume Up is not often even played anymore.
Yeah.
And that can draw you 3 to 4 cards guaranteed from your deck, and this is just discovering random stuff.
Yeah, it's probably too variable. You're right. This is one of those cards, but I don't know.
It could fill your hand with random garbage. That is a possibility. And sometimes that random garbage is good.
This is like, dude, this could be a 1 and this could be a 4. I could see it I don't know. So, I don't know.
I don't think random garbage wins the game in Mage.
Yeah.
That's my hypothesis.
Probably right. I'll give it a 1, but I could see myself being completely wrong. So.
All right. Next up, we got Exarch Haturu, I suppose. 5 mana 5/5 legendary Draenei. With Battlecry, discover a spell and reduce its cost by 1. If you play the spell this turn, repeat this effect, just like Instructor Fireheart.
Instructor Fireheart, but 5 mana, but the opposite, where you get the. But no, Fireheart was only cards 3 or less, right? So.
Was it?
Oh no, it wasn't. It was 1 or more. I'm being wrong. So. So it's awkward to play this when you want to, on turn 10, right? To get a bunch of things, but it could be you get a fireball, you get a fireball, you get a frostbolt, and then yeah. So
Hmm.
is Highlander Mage a thing? Like, I feel like I'd want to run this in like some Highlander Mage, just like a good. But like, is it really going to be better than something like Titan, or Titan seems a lot better than this.
Oh, well, I suppose you can reduce it with the Sea Shill if you want, or the next card.
Yeah, I see. I don't. I'm not a believer, but I'm gonna give it 2 stars. I see some, maybe Highlander Mage runs it, so I don't know. It's okay. So
Right. I'm gonna go with 1 on this, but I'm kind of caught between a 1 and a 2.
okay.
I think you probably just want to save your synergies for the more important cards. That's all. Speaking of, next up we got Ingenious Artificer, which is a 5-mana 4/6 Draenei. With Battlecry, the next Draenei you play refreshes mana crystals equal to its attack.
That's pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
you could play this and then just play the other one for, a 1-mana 4/6, and then yeah. So I'll give it 3 stars. Maybe it should be 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems just.
Yeah, I'm definitely at least on 3.
Yeah, I mean, I
Especially
don't know
because
about
of the
Draenei
Arcane
synergy,
Pilot.
but like this card's not that hard to use. So as long as you have another good Draenei, like so, yeah.
Yep. Next up, we got Solar Flare, 5-mana fire spell, deal 2 damage to all enemies, costs 1 less for each elemental you control.
I don't know. I guess you're running this in the new Elemental Fire deck, right? And it's good RNG. So maybe I just gotta give this 3 stars because it's the card that like allows this deck to exist. So yeah, I'll give it 3.
Yeah.
So
Yep, same for me. It goes in that one particular deck and nowhere else.
yeah, so
Compelling. Next up, we got Saren, which is a 6-mana 7/6 legendary elemental. In Battlecry, give all elementals in your deck fire spell damage +1.
yeah, this is they're very much making this deck, like, and it's
Yep.
so, and it's if it is OP, it'll be nerfed really quickly, much like that elemental that what's the
Yep,
it's now 4
Lamplighter.
mana. So I mean, it's probably never going to be OP at our ranks. It just might be like you said, OP at Diamond. So I'll give it 3. So
I'm going to go 1 on this. I'm not even sure that goes in the elemental deck.
oh, okay.
Just because you got to play it on 6.
Oh, it's in your
ideally.
deck. Oh, never mind.
Yep.
I forgot about
Doesn't buff
that.
hand.
I'll give it 1 then too. Okay,
Yep.
convinced me. So
All right. And next up, we got Arcwing Pilot, a 7-mana 4/3 Draenei, with at the end of your turn, deal 3 damage to a random enemy, and Spellburst, summon an Arcwing Pilot.
wait a second. So I can just play this and then play 7 spells, get a giant board, and then deal 21 damage.
Yeah, you're supposed to play Ingenious Artificer as the setup, and then you play this on 7, and it refreshes 4.
Ooh, this is cool. Like
Yeah,
this
so-
might suck, but I'm just gonna give it a 3 because I like it. So
Yeah, one thing Vicious Syndicate was talking about was the synergy with this also in buy one, get one freeze. Especially if you've discounted
that's so
it.
easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the pilot. I'm going to give it a 3.
All right. Yeah. And like you kill a bunch of stuff, and then they have to deal with the board. So you might deal like 12 to face and kill 2 of their minions.
Yep.
Oh, that could be really cool. It takes a lot of synergy, but the payoff's there. So
I saw someone do it to me in the brawl. It's got potential.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, we got Supernova, 8-mana fire spell. Fill your hand with random fire spells. They cost 1.
I don't know about this one. I mean, you can play it with an empty hand and get enough to win the game, right? So, maybe it's really good. I don't know.
My heart tells me it's a 2. My brain tells me it's a 1. It's not crazy that this card makes it into a deck in some capacity, I don't think, but it's probably not going to get there.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, all right, fine. Fair.
So.
All right, and that's Mage. Moving on into Paladin. That Orbital